Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. When 18-year-old Isaac Watts complained to his father about the hymns used in church, his father replied, "They were good enough for your grandfather and for me, and they will have to be good enough for you as well." Isaac responded, "They will never do for me, no matter what you thought of them." His angry father shouted back, "If you don't like the hymns we sing, then write better ones." Young Isaac responded, "I have written better ones, and if you will relax and listen, I will read one for you." The amazed father listened and took his son's hymn to church the next week. It was so well received that Isaac was asked to write another hymn for the next week, a continuing request he filled for 222 consecutive Sundays. This week we are continuing to look at men and women of faith the church remembers in November, and Isaac Watts is one of those. In fact, he is called the father of English hymnody. Watts was the eldest of 9 children to a nonconformist minister, which meant that he wasn't part of the Church of England and was part of a separatist group like the Puritans. His father had been imprisoned twice for his dissenting ideas. He showed great promise, even astounding and amusing his parents. Watts showed great promise, even astounding and amusing his parents with his ability to rhyme by age 7, and some townspeople offered to pay for his education at a university, leading to ordination in the Church of England. Watts refused the offer and spent the next few years writing while living at home with in his parents' house. When he was 24, he began preaching. He was ordained and became pastor of an independent congregation which had many distinguished members. However, his health began to fail, and for the next 36 years of his life, he was mostly homebound, preaching and teaching only occasionally. During this time, he wrote extensively, and not just hymns. Several of his books were studied at the university, and he even published a catechism that was used as a text in religious education. These published writings included Hymns and Spiritual Songs, the first hymn book in English. His writings were so popular that more than a century later, one of them was satirized in Alice in Wonderland. After years of suffering, Watts died in 1748 and was buried in a graveyard not far from the grave of the great Puritan author John Bunyan. Now, there is no way I can give you a list of all the hymns that Watts wrote. Our own Lutheran hymnal includes at least 10 hymns that come from him. A few of the better-known ones that we still sing today are Joy to the World, Alas, and Did My Savior Bleed, Jesus Shall Reign, Oh, that the Lord would guide my ways, Give to our God immortal praise, and O God, our help in ages past. Watts' hymns revolutionized the church singing, and his hymns were widely printed and distributed. In 1780, during the Revolutionary War, the wife of a local Presbyterian pastor was a casualty of a British advance. 3 weeks later, the British tried to advance again as Washington's soldiers prepared to defend. Suddenly, the American troops realized they had a shortage of wadding for their guns. The pastor, when he heard the news, went to the church, picked up an armful of hymnals, and hurried to the scene of the impending battle. Handing out the hymnals, he cried, "Give 'em Watts, boys." The soldiers tore out the pages of the hymnals and fired their guns. I think our hymnals are a great devotional resource for us. I encourage my members to read hymns throughout the week and think about what they mean as they prick our imaginations and force us to think in new ways about God. I urge people to use the time before worship to read through the hymns we will use in worship that day, so that when they come around, you know what you are singing about, and the words take on new meaning, and your worship is enriched. This is the legacy left to us by Isaac Watts. Thanks be to God. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.